This is what I love most about Kaohsiung Harbor. Look at this place. You're right in the middle, and me on my small fishing boat, I feel like a shrimp among whales. I think all these guys are seeing this small fishing boat in here going, what is this guy doing? He must be lost. Ginger, plum sauce with licorice, sugar, and condensed soy sauce. Mix it up nicely. So yesterday, the old fisherman agreed to take me out on the boat and show me around Kaohsiung Harbor. Today I have Wen-ge with me and Chen-ge. They're going to show us around. They're old fishermen. They were actually born here. 那你打算我们今天开到哪里？
这边是旗津的中心点，我们往南走。我们到那个旗津的二康口那边，以前是跟那个陆地连接，开辟二康口以后，旗津现在变成孤岛，就是那个地方。
I think a lot of people have been to Kaohsiung Harbor and seen it from the land, from Qijing Island, but now we're going to see Arhao Ganghao from the ocean. It's going to be very interesting, and these two gentlemen are going to talk about the history. 好，那我们上船。So you're getting real tour of Kaohsiung and Qijing from the ocean.
这里本来有3间小型的造船厂，小型的渔船已经没落了。
没落了。
人家3间把它买起来，开这1间修理远洋渔船。
所以那些船都是等的时间可以进去修理啊。
对对对，他们是来这边整修的。
那Qijing现在有多少个农船的地方？
造船厂差不多有10几间有。哦，大型的造船厂只有1间。
This is the end of the commercial repair area. Going forward, we get to the real commercial harbor where they have all the cargo ships, and you'll see that in a second. This is what I love most about Kaohsiung Harbor. Look at this place. You're right in the middle, and me on my small fishing boat, I feel like a shrimp among whales. It's exciting to see this. Look at, they're unloading the ships here. Kaohsiung Harbor used to be in the top 5 of the world. Originally, it was not a very deep harbor, but they dug it down deep and they made it as a deep water port. And so you can have all these large ships coming in here to unload.
对面是全镇鱼市场，目前是全国最大的远洋渔港。
我们可以开进去吗？
可以。
好，那我开进去，你介绍一下。好 ，Let's go。So we're right across from Qijing Island in Zhenzheng Yugang. This is the largest yin-yang fishing harbor, in other words, longshore fishing harbor. And you'll see all the boats here are huge. These are the boats that go out for months at a time, go to the Indonesia, go to the Philippines to catch big fish and put them in their freezers and bring them back. This is the largest one in Taiwan. We're just taking a tour inside this longshore harbor, and you'll look at these fishing boats. They're completely different than the small ones. They're all iron-hulled and they're gigantic, and they're really suitable for months out at the sea. You can see that one over there, CT8. That's the biggest it gets. That's absolutely gigantic. Compared to my little baby CT1, I feel so insignificant. I think all these guys are seeing this small fishing boat in here going, what is this guy doing? He must be lost. Hello! Hello! Terima kasih! I think all these guys must be very happy to be back in port after months at sea. You can see all the crew preparing, drying their clothes, washing their clothes. Let's go to the next stop. So this is the second entrance of Kaohsiung Harbor. We came in the first entrance, here's the second entrance, and you can see that structure looks like an aircraft control tower, but that is the port control tower. That's how huge this place is.
旗津岛这里是作业站，这里是绑架，这里是红毛港。
好毛港。
它民国56年从这里开港出去，
哦，本来是一条，
本来是连在一起的，
哦
本来是连在一起的，开港出去，旗津就变成孤岛了。
So we just exited the second harbor of Kaohsiung and we're heading north along the outer coast of Qijing Island. We're just entering Kaohsiung Harbor, back at entrance number 1, and this is the Chiho Lighthouse, which has a long history. You can see it's just perched above the cliff on the mountain and has an excellent view of the whole area. This lighthouse is critical to all the ships coming into this harbor, and it really guides the way, especially since there's so many large ships coming in here. Its history goes back to 1860s when the French and the British forced the Qing government to open up the Kaohsiung port and other ports in Taiwan, including Anping, Keelung, and also Danshui. Those 4 harbors. So these were the critical harbors. The lighthouse, however, wasn't built till much later in the 1860s. And it was originally built as a fort with a 4-sided construction, and over the years has been rebuilt many, many times. We're now in the innermost part of Kaohsiung Harbor, and this is also where the yacht harbor is. And it's also the location where every few years we have the Kaohsiung Yacht Show, which is the largest indoor yacht show in Asia. So that happens right in this hall here. You can get a sense of how beautiful Kaohsiung is looking at it from this perspective. I love coming here and looking at the beautiful boats and actually being in the center of the city, but it's so peaceful out on the boat. No hustle, no bustle, nobody else. You're here alone in the middle of the city, and it's just peaceful. I want to take a step back and really explain Kaohsiung to you, because you really can't get a full sense of it until you look at the maps and kind of understand the history of it. If you look at Taiwan, or as Formosa as it used to be called, there were 4 important harbors. This is a very old map from the Dutch period, and you can see here Keelung Harbor, which is in the north of Taiwan, Danshui, which is very close to Taipei, Anping, which you can see here, which is in central Taiwan and has a very long, important history. Finally, we have Kaohsiung Harbor, or Dagao, hit the dog, as it was called in the old days. Kaohsiung's harbor goes back a long way, back to 1624 when the Dutch came here. They came here to Chiho, the very northern tip of Kaohsiung port where the entrance 1 is. And they actually formed a settlement here. At the same time, and slightly after that, fishermen from mainland China also would sail to Taiwan to catch mullet. One of the famous fishermen from back in those days who settled in Chihu is Ahua. He came in 1673 to take shelter from a typhoon and actually ended up living in Chihu for a few months, and realized it was such a great place to fish and live. He then told more fishermen to come and join him. And that's really in the Qing dynasty when the Chinese people came to settle in this part of Taiwan. I've come to this ancient temple in Qijing for two reasons. First of all, because this is the first temple in Kaohsiung and it is the first temple dedicated to Mazu in all of Taiwan. As you know, Mazu for fishermen is very important. We all come to pray here for safety and for catching lots of fish. But the other reason that this temple is interesting is because of this plaque here. This plaque is from the Qing Dynasty, and it goes on to say that whether you're a foreigner or a local, if you come here by rowing or by wind power, the local people who are living here will help you to repair your boat if it's damaged in typhoon, or if you have other issues, they are obligated to help you. Typhoon arises out at sea. They're not allowed to sit and watch. They're obligated to go out and save you. These old laws are here at the temple so that all the people who lived here are reminded of their obligation, because at the end, anyone who lives in a fishing port at heart is connected to the sea. And whether you're from abroad or whether you're in Taiwan, we're all the same. We're all fishermen. And that law is inscribed on this stone for everyone to see. So this temple is really meaningful. There's another remnant of the Dutch here, particularly in Chiho. It's these tomatoes. In fact, the Dutch introduced tomatoes to Taiwan. And like my son, they didn't like the flavor. They said it tastes kind of fishy. So they came up with a special way to eat it that you can still get here. They take ginger, plum sauce with licorice, sugar, and condensed soy sauce, and make a sauce out of it, like this. Mix it up nicely. Looks very interesting. And then you take these, what they're called black tomatoes, and dip them in the sauce. Get a good coating on them. It's excellent. You really get a taste of the ginger and then plum sauce. It brings out the flavor nicely, and it's tremendously balanced. And it's balanced not only in flavor, but according to Chinese medicine, tomatoes are cold, ginger is hot, and the balance of hot and cold gives you a very balanced meal. So by eating this, you're not only pleasing your taste buds, you're pleasing your body's health. Really good. This has been a fantastic trip for me. I've been to Kaohsiung many times and I've driven the harbor many times, but I've never spent time here on Qijing Island. I've never understood its history, back from when the Dutch came here almost 400 years ago, the Japanese, the Chinese during Qin Dynasty, and even the more recent history we learned from the fishermen that we talked to. This island is truly an important part of Taiwan, and it is an important part of Kaohsiung, Qijing Island. I think we've only scratched the surface of this, and we're definitely going to come back to Kaohsiung because there's still so much to see here. Join me next time and we'll explore more of Kaohsiung, and you'll see Kaohsiung like we have this time, from the sea, not from the land.